Hello, hello, lovely people. I am really excited to be doing something we've not done before, which is bring on some of our one-to-one Time Hacker Coach clients onto the podcast so you can hear from them about the experience. And today I'm joined by Rebekah Lara. Hi, Rebekah Lara.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. She's just told me, thanks to time differences, it's 8 a.m. her time. So we really appreciate her showing up to share about her experience and give you all a bit of an insider preview and sneak peek into what you can expect from the Time Hacker one-to-one coaching program. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about why you wanted to even sign up to get that one-to-one support from Time Hacker coaches?
Great question. I'm a coach myself, and I've been a part of a few coaching programs, and they've all been group coaching, which I've gained a lot of value from. But it was the first time that I decided to make the investment in one-to-one coaching because I knew I had reached a point where I wanted to take it a step further and make it a bit more personal for myself and my unique situation. So that's kind of what made me take the leap.
I love that. And I agree with you. I think a lot of my early coaching was in groups and I love community. That's why I've built a community. And I also started to get this feeling of like, just because this is what we offer doesn't mean this has to be all we have to offer. And I can't help but think, are there certain things or certain conversations that aren't being had or certain support that's not being received because of the different structure, and why not offer it all? That was really the decision
Yeah,
behind it. So I love that you shared that. And then how was your first one-to-one coaching session? Do you remember?
I do. I remember the first couple. They bleed together a little bit in my mind, but I do remember early on in the first maybe one or two sessions, just walking away, feeling feeling calmer. I'm an introvert too, which is part of my own struggle in group coaching programs. Like, I don't think I fully come to the table, if you will, with my own thoughts and struggles. And so it was nice to just feel safe um, in that one-to-one situation. And so walking away from those first calls, I just felt very seen and very calm, which is
Mhm.
kind of what I aim for. I feel like life is a little chaotic. And I have three kids and they all have multiple diagnoses, and we've been through a lot of health trauma. And so I felt calm, and that was like my biggest takeaway. And also just feeling safe. Like, I got this was kind of the feeling I walked away with too.
That sounds really powerful, and thank you for sharing
Mhm.
a bit more about your personal background. Um, And I do think there is something exactly like you said. I think the priority for us with our coaches, with our training of coaches, which actually now you are going to become a time hacker coach, which is so cool because for sure you'll be on the podcast. Everyone watch this space when we have Rebekah Lara coming on as a coach. Um, so that's fun. I
Correct.
think one of
Yes.
the priorities for us as a company in providing coaching is providing safety. Um, and I think that we do that in the group spaces as well. And I think that it's completely reasonable that as humans, uh, there's so much a coach can do and there's so much a community can do. And we just sometimes desire, and I think there's nothing wrong with this desire, that privacy and that space. And you also mentioned being an introvert. And I mean, I'm interested to see, just for everyone listening, that will be listening for the next few months, also how your experience evolves as you coach, and the work that we'll do together there, which is
Yeah.
going to support this. But I think you mentioned the word calm. And I think particularly at this time of year, there's something about it
Mhm.
where it's like there's a lot of excitement, but there's also a lot of pressure and a lot of busyness and a lot of multiple things going on. And we suddenly take on all these additional roles, even though we've already been, oversubscribed in terms of our to-do lists and the things that we are managing and the roles that we are managing. And I think a lot of people listening are like, calm? Like, I can't remember the last time I really felt calm.
Right. It's not a feeling that I had for many years, and it's definitely what I was craving. And I've created a lot of that for myself. Um, and I still recognize, which was powerful too, to be more aware of what's going on, and that I wasn't, there were still things getting in between me and calm. And so working one-to-one allowed me to kind of like dive a little bit deeper. I definitely gain a lot from community, like you said, and sometimes we don't know what we need, and like hearing other people get coached is very helpful. So I kind of, now I'm excited because I'm doing both, right? So I feel like I'm wrapped in both, like the community and time hackers and the one-on-one coaching. It feels like the perfect fit for me in
Yeah.
this season of life.
Yes, I love that you have created the perfect fit for you. And that's so fun. And you
Yes.
mentioned then about, I think this is a big thing. It's definitely a big thing that I had to overcome when we are used to taking care of other people and we are used to taking care of ourselves. I do think for some of us it can be quite a big leap to get the help. Not because, I often say, like, don't just do it because you need it. Do it because you want it. How does that sentence resonate with you?
Yeah, and that's powerful. That's something I've definitely been stepping into. Because I feel like living through the experience with my daughters, like everything was need basis, and we were in survival mode. Like literally speaking, my daughter was on life support. And so to step, through that experience, I've learned so much about, also a lot about time, but also just about myself and my own care. And like, it's okay to want things for me, and still be a good, caring, present mom. And so that's been a big transformation for me. Yeah. And it's still uncomfortable at times, to answer your question, like I still go to default mode of like, well, I don't need that, but I want it, and it's okay to want things and to follow through with it.
Yes, and I think what you just touched on there is such a common conversation, a common dialogue, even if it's just an internal dialogue that we have, which is the way that we've been taught around wanting for ourselves or giving to ourselves is almost as though it's in competition with the people that we care about, with the goals that we want to achieve, with our loved ones, with our own health, with all of these things. It's as though taking care of ourselves is a sacrifice or a net cost to someone else. So now, having gone through the one-to-one program, obviously now you're in time hackers and becoming a coach, but just having gone through the one-to-one program, so initially the thought, it sounds like one of the thoughts you had to overcome was like, it's okay to do something for me. And now, having gone through it, what do you think the impact has been for the people that you love?
I think it's definitely positive, right? Because when I care for myself, I show up in a calmer state, which as a parent, like, is very valuable, because having young children, like, there's always some problem you're trying to solve. And when I am able to enter those experiences, like feeling energized or rested or calm, it's a positive for everyone, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's perfect. It's still not perfect, but it's definitely, I have a different perspective, and I'm able to pause and reflect on what's happening around me and not be so reactive, which I think is super helpful.
Yeah, I think sometimes we only think about like the big dramatic changes when it comes to coaching, and oftentimes it's like those small everyday things that support us in getting to show up in the world with intention, and getting to show up for the people we love with intention, and getting to show up for the work that we are doing with intention. And that has a way bigger impact than like one big shock to the system.
Yes, for sure.
Um, what would you say to someone who is like, maybe I'll do it like in the future, or maybe I'll do it one day, or this seems nice, but maybe not super important? What might you say to them?
Those are common thoughts I've had in the past as well. And so I can definitely understand and relate to those. But I've learned through coaching and through my daughter's illness, that like the present is all we have. like that we know we can make decisions in the present and enjoy the present moment. Like we never know what's around the corner. And I just know that making these decisions now accelerate everything that we want in life, right? So when I have a goal in mind, or I know I want to be a more present, rested, caring mother, it's like, why would I wait? Like, let's do it today. The ripple effect, right, will start rippling a lot faster than if we hold off and wait. And so, yeah, I just try to lean into all I have control over is today and right now. And so I use that to help me make my decisions, and also just to enjoy what I do have in the moment.
Mm-hmm. That's so powerful to just really, I think our brains are designed to always be trying to anticipate the future and know exactly what's going to happen and make decisions based off of this like known unknown, and also to ruminate in the past and try and replay things that we actually can't control. And that skill of being in the present and bringing ourselves back to the present over and over again is not an easy one.
No.
And it is the thing that I think has one of the biggest impacts on us creating the life that we want to create.
Yes. And that was, I think, my biggest transformation or breakthrough is like, I get to have a say in the way my life goes. For a long time, it didn't feel that way. So that's really powerful to understand that you do get to make choices. And that's empowering. I think it helped me shift out of like victim mindset of like, all the thoughts, right? Like, I don't have time and I can't do this and it's not fair. And I realized that those thoughts weren't serving me and that I actually did have some choices. And from there, it's helped me, again, like you said, not ruminate about what happened in the past and not worry so much about the future, but just live in the present as much as possible.
Right. I love what you said earlier as well about like it's not perfect. I think it's very important. And you will have probably heard me speak about this a lot in Time Hackers. It's very important that we drop this notion that at any point we're not going to be human. At any point we're not going to experience certain emotions. At any point we're never going to be reactive again. All this like perfection narrative, this I'm almost thinking of like Stepford Wives like ideal that's been sold to us as the way to be, instead of actually embracing our humanity and making the changes that we want to make, but maybe not ruminating as much when we don't show up how we want to show up all the time.
Yeah, it's helpful to know that I can still have feelings and process them, but like I don't get stuck in that cycle for as long as I used to. Right. So like it's nice to have the awareness that like, okay, like it's okay to feel this way and it's okay to like now move forward from here and not feel so stuck.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yes, it's really that idea that I think so many of us forget, which is our feelings are like a signal to us of information, and but they are not us, right? Like I am feeling angry, not I am angry. Um, and I just think even our language around it in society skips out. So we personify our emotions instead of them just being a temporary part of us.
Yeah, I like that idea of it just being temporary. It used to feel so permanent, like you said. And it's nice to know and recognize that they are temporary.
Yes. Is there anything that you would say to anyone that's like, 20 minutes doesn't seem like enough?
Yeah, that's a great point. Even as a coach myself, like I've learned this too, that like more time doesn't equal better or more results. Um, I actually now in my mind understand that like it's actually like as a busy in quotes mom of 3 special needs kids, like I have learned that having more time doesn't equal more results. People are usually like amazed that I can get more done, again, air quotes, while I have these other obligations. And it's because I've learned that you don't need more time. And I know you talk about this all the time. You don't need more time to get more results. And the focused sessions of the 20-minute coaching calls, it helps you kind of narrow in on what's most important, the root of everything, and just stay there and Yeah, I actually value shorter coaching calls now. I don't think you need an hour to get to
Yeah.
the same place, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, even when I first started coaching and I did hour-long sessions, I remember like it was quite a common occurrence to me, probably to no surprise of anyone listening or even you, that I would find myself filling the time. Like we'd got
Yes.
what we needed to, and then I was like, oh, as though someone was paying me for the time, and it would almost take away from the main point. And then we'd kind of both leave the session not clear on the main point that we got coached on because we'd covered it with other things that weren't related or weren't the priority at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I also think for me, when I was like my past self, when I was really overworking and doing all the things and so busy, that an hour was an obstacle to me. Like I was like, that sounds great, but if I was going to have an hour, it would not be for coaching, especially before I was a coach, especially, before I really knew the value of coaching. Part of the reason as well why we have this like 6-week, 20-minute program is really to allow people to ease into the discomfort of asking for what you want and not what you need, B, the discomfort of getting supported, and not just supporting others, and also this idea of carving out time for ourselves, which we may never have intentionally done before, even if we do scroll on social media or watch Netflix, like the intention of setting aside in your calendar 20 minutes where you know that like you and the other person are just going to be focused on you and what you need support on.
Yeah, that's a great point because a lot of us have that obstacle, that thought, I don't have time for an hour. And it's a lot harder to argue with yourself. Well, yeah, I can certainly find 20 minutes in my day. You know, most people can get on board with that. And yeah, that's a great point. And it is a great entry point if you are feeling uncomfortable for any of those reasons you mentioned. Um, even as an introvert, it's like, well, certainly I can show up for 20 minutes, that seems very doable. So it's great point to make.
And what do you think about the fact that there were 6 sessions? How did you find that?
Yeah, I felt like that was a great amount. I walked away feeling like there was enough time, and I chose to coach with the same coach each time.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed doing that because I felt like there was still the opportunity to have some sort of like knowledge of what was going on, and kind of build on that relationship, that coaching relationship. And with the 6 sessions, yeah, it felt like a great amount to kind of dig in a little bit deeper each time and walk away feeling definitely like I got what I came for.
So good. And I love that you pointed out that you chose to work with the same coach every time. So just so people listening know, when you sign up, and the link will be in the show notes for you to sign up for the Time Hackers one-to-one coaching program, you get to choose your coach for every session. And we do that so that you can either, much like Rebekah Lara, choose to work with the same coach and build that familiar relationship and come in and land every week with the familiar face and pick up right where you left off, or so that you can, and I think actually we're bringing on people on the podcast that did both, so I think it's interesting to have both perspectives. So, or you can choose to work with different coaches and get different perspectives. So I love that you shared about your experience of working with the same coach, so that people listening know that that's also available, because I also think that's something powerful. When you get coached, you feel safe, you feel supported, you feel heard, especially as an introvert, to know that you can, like, that probably made it easier to book the next session and the session afterwards.
Yes, definitely. I just remembered as you were saying that I did once invest in another one-to-one program, and I wasn't given the opportunity to select the coach each time. And for me, that was a barrier, as an introvert, like having to like show up and start. It felt like starting over, and not everyone has that struggle. But for me, that definitely made it feel a lot more accessible and easy to be present.
Yes, thank you for sharing. I actually used to be in a program as well where I would get allocated a coach. And I just remember, and you wouldn't know who it was until you booked it. And then I would book it, and then I would be like, oh no. And then I would change it. And I actually used to work for them as a coach, and I would have people do it for me, do it the same thing to me as well. And I do think we want to give that option of choice I think it's a great thing that technology allows us to do. Did you know, like, how did you choose your coach? And you don't need to say who it is, but how did you choose your coach?
It was helpful to have the like little bios, written up, and I chose someone that I felt had similar life circumstances to me because that just felt comfortable for me. And I could see also like valuing someone totally different than me. So I could, if I were to do it again, to kind of, widen my perspective on things. I think that would be helpful as well. So,
Yes.
but again, as an introvert and someone who's not always comfortable meeting new people, it just felt more, I liked having the choice, like you said, to be able to read a little bit about people's experiences and their personal life and kind of finding that match.
Yes. Yes. I just realized listeners don't even know, because you won't know until you purchase, but you get, every single one of our coaches has a profile. And in that profile, it's quite short. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not pages long. But in that profile, we have them share about why they joined Time Hackers, the exact issues that they've had to overcome through using the Time Hacker tools. And what they consider their expertise is, as well as a little bit personally about their personal life. And I love doing that too, because I agree with you. I feel like oftentimes we show up to these calls, and I mean, we are going to have our coaches, and this will include you, on the podcast more and more. And we are going to make more of an effort with our marketing to make everyone familiar with our coaches. But I think it's great to know a little bit about the person you are sitting across from, when that might be, your most vulnerable moment of the week. So thank you for mentioning that, because I don't think I've really mentioned it before. And I do think it's such a big point.
It is, I think too, like even when I'm looking for a doctor for my child or my children, I read, I look around and try to find the right, match is important. And yeah, I love that that's an option.
Thank you. Thank you for saying so. Is there anything that you would really say that I've not asked you that you wanted to say about it, or anything that you want people to hear or be aware of?
I think the last thing worth mentioning is that if, cost is a barrier to one-to-one coaching for you, I feel like this is very accessible price point. That was another easy yes for me, because I know we all have financial constraints, and I also valued the fact that it felt more accessible and was doable. And I love that you made that an option.
Thank you. Thank you for saying so. And actually, right now, we've even got a payment plan option, which is something we had to figure out the tech behind, which wasn't available when you signed up. So yeah, our mission really here, I think we've used the word quite a lot in this episode, really was that one of the driving forces was making coaching accessible, making it accessible financially, making it accessible in terms of the time, making it accessible to have that dedicated private forum and support, and making it accessible to have high quality coaches. That I think it's a big deal that all of our coaches have gone through our program. So they've created the transformation that our clients are looking for. So thank you for making that point. So
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on. And why don't we tell everyone a little bit about you? You said you're a coach. Obviously, in 6 months' time or so, you are going to be seeing Rebekah Lara as a time hacker coach, and you'll be able to work with her through us. But for now, tell everyone who you help and what you do.
Thank you for asking. I am excited to have be a time hacker coach because I, through my daughter's illness and her experience, have been just very aware and mindful of time. And I help moms who are entrepreneurs like myself to make decisions for themselves so that they can meet their goals and take care of themselves, and also do so in less time with less chaos. And so that's who I help. And I know that this next step, becoming a time hacker coach, will help support not only community, but my clients as well. So I'm excited, period.
Yeah. And I mean, I love your mission. And I think, there's so many of us that recognize the current time structures and rules and solutions are not working for us, and we've been led to believe, particularly I think in the last decade, that that's because there's something wrong with us and we just better get with the program, when the truth is there's nothing wrong with us. Time is, in the time industry as I refer to it, is just so outdated, so limited, definitely doesn't consider the exact market that you serve. And I'm just so grateful to be doing this work and meeting people like you that are out there supporting others, so that we step away from this narrative that we can't do things because we have other obligations, that we can't, you know, that time is responsible for our results, and those of us without it can just, you know, pucker up and not do anything about it. So I love your mission. We'll probably link to your website in the show notes if that's cool, so people can stay in touch with you. And of course, if you've listened to this, the Time Hackers one-to-one coaching program is open right now. It's not open all the time because we like our coaches to be able to catch up and take a breath. But it's open right now until I think the 17th of November, or it might be the 16th. And you can book in and you can book your sessions and you can use them anytime within 3 months. It's 6 20-minute sessions with a time hacker coach that, as we've spoken about, came to us with, you know, wanting support around time, used the tools to change their lives, went through a super intense, very powerful coach certification program and came out of it as excellent coaches, and then applied to work. Like, it's quite a rigorous process with lots of love. I honestly feel like our coaches are the best in the game, so loving, so caring, so warm. And if you want support around time, if you feel like you are in chaos, if you feel like you have too much to do, not enough time, then we have the solution. Please jump on it. Don't let your brain keep you struggling when there is literally a solution right in front of you. That's it from us. Thank you so much, Rebekah Lara, for your time and your experience and sharing so openly with us. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you listening as well. So thank you.
Thank you.